find ourselves in. So here's what I believe. Right now, if you want to get through the next 2 to 3 years in a strong economic position, as opposed to what I think most people are going to find is the negative economic position, what you need to do is start thinking differently about a number of things. But primarily, the number one thing you need to start thinking differently about is how are you going to earn your income, right? If you've always relied on somebody else providing a job for you and you just turn up at work and you get paid an income and you go home and everything's fine, you might find yourself in a difficult situation as businesses close down, as they start to slash costs to be able to stay in business, and they lay off staff, which is the number one cost in any business, right, is the staff to run the business. As they start consolidating jobs down, where maybe 2 or 3 people used to perform a job, they're now consolidating it down into one person. You might find your hours cut or your job cut or the company that you worked for out of business. So you need to start thinking differently about how you earn an income. Now, you might be sitting there right now thinking, you know what, that's never going to happen to me because everything's hunky-dory in my company. They're going great. I've been there for years. I'll never be laid off from my company. Well, maybe that's the case, but doesn't it make sense? Doesn't it make sound, prudent sense to actually start planning to develop a secondary source of income? And this is my message for you today. I think right now, whilst on the one hand we've got this negative economic situation, a lot of people are going to be suffering who are stuck in that traditional mindset of having a good job and getting a good income and saving some money for retirement. And by the way, go and ask most baby boomers right now how well are they placed for their retirement. I think you'll find most are in the most desirable situation, especially if the share market tanks when the coming recession comes into play. But what you need to really be thinking about is how can you put yourself in a position where you have a secondary stream of income, which is based on a completely different model from what you're used to. What you're used to is trading time for money in a traditional sort of business. Now, what you need to start thinking about, I believe, to get through the next 2 to 3 years in a sound economic position is to start thinking about how can you build a business system that continues to generate an income for you long after you've done the work to set it up. In other words, it creates a residual or a passive income stream for you. So whilst on one hand, there are many, many businesses that are going to go, struggle through the next 2, 3, 5 years, there are other business categories which I believe are going to boom. Right now, if you think about it, there's millions of baby boomers around the world who potentially don't have enough money for their retirement, and what are they all doing? They're looking for a secondary source of income. They're getting on Google, they're getting online looking for a better way to be able to fund their retirement. So there are certain business sectors which are going to absolutely boom over the next 2, 3, 5 years and longer. There is a huge wave of opportunity coming for those who are smart enough to recognize what that opportunity is right now. So there are areas like internet marketing, which is a huge broad term, but within internet marketing there's lots of subcategories, and some of those subcategories I believe are going to really boom in the next 2 to 3 years as more and more people start turning to the internet looking for a better way to earn an income, a secondary income source, right? I mean, even if you made $1,000 a month in a secondary income stream, will you think about what that's really worth to you? $1,000 a month is $12,000 a year. How much money would you need to have invested in the bank to be able to get an income of $12,000 from that investment? Well, if you were able to get 10% return on your money, which is probably unlikely right at the moment, right? But let's say you could, 10% return on your money, you would need $120,000 invested to get $12,000 income off that investment. Think about that for a moment. If you could only get 5%, which is probably more realistic, you'd need nearly $250,000 to get $1,000 a month income being produced by that investment. Well, what are the chances of you saving $120,000 or $240,000 in the next 2 to 3 years and saving it so that you can get $1,000 income stream coming in from that? Almost zero, right? Most of us can't do that. But what are the chances of you building an internet-based business over the next 2 to 3 years, and say 2 years time, it starts giving you a regular $1,000 a month, $1,000 a month, $1,000 a month, or more, I'm just using that as an example, $1,000 a month, every month, because you did the work over the next 2 years, and it's now, that system you built is now generating you that $1,000 a month income. Now, so internet marketing is one category I believe is going to boom for many, many people during the coming global recession. Another category I think is going to boom is going to be network marketing, multi-level marketing. Now, I don't know what your thoughts and feelings are on that, but if you have any negative thoughts and feelings about that, now is the time to find out the truth about network marketing. It's a legitimate business model. Lots of people have made a lot of money through network marketing over the last 50 or 60 years. If there were any issues with it being a scam or a pyramid or anything like that, it would have been shut down long ago. So you need to start to think differently if you have any negative issues or beliefs around network marketing. It's a viable business model. There are certain network marketing companies that are going to boom in the next 2, 3, 5 years. And if you were smart, you'd start looking for those companies. Earlier this year, I went on a search looking for the right opportunity, a combination of internet marketing, network marketing, and a product that everyone would use. And you have to know what you're looking for, because not every network marketing company is equal. There's good companies, there are bad companies. Same with internet marketing. So I came up with a checklist that I started looking at on how to find the right company with the right timing and the right opportunity and the right product. If you were smart, you'd start seeking out the answers to those questions as well. Over the next 2 to 3 years, I absolutely urge you to start finding a way to generate a secondary stream of income so that you are less impacted by the coming global recession. Right now, as we sit here, you watching this video, me talking to you on the 1st of January 2013, the seriousness of the fiscal cliff in the US, the current debt levels in the US, which they cannot service, right? The seriousness of that hasn't been felt around the world. If you look in the media, sure, there's a lot of talk about it. But the bottom line impact on you and your bank account, your lifestyle, your family, and how you live your life hasn't been felt by us just yet. But it's coming, mark my words. There's no rosy outlook on a global basis for the economy. We are going to enter a global recession. There is just no two ways around that, right? However, your personal economy doesn't have to be directly impacted by the global economy. So now's the time for you to make a decision to stand up and do something different. Don't be like all the other people. Don't be one of the sheep, right, that just go along thinking everything's okay, the government have got this in hand and they'll take care of us. Wrong. Many years ago, back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, maybe, right? But not today. Things have changed too much. Debt levels are out of control. The banking system, the financial system in the US, and therefore flow-on effect right around the world, has just become an absolute disaster. Research what a fiat economy is all about and why it must collapse eventually, right? Since the 2008 financial crisis, the US government's solution has been to print more money. Well, if you continue to print trillions and trillions of dollars, making money out of thin air, right, which is what a fiat economy does, if you continue just producing money out of thin air into the tune of trillions of dollars, you have to create inflation at some point. And what I believe we'll see is hyperinflation, which will devalue the US dollar, which means that countries like China, Japan, Russia, Brazil and others will get together and they'll move away from the US dollar as standard. The fiscal cliff is coming. There are some tough economic times coming. Your personal economy doesn't have to be like the global economy. Make sure you do something about it. Cheers.